today.
Just don't bring up the suicide thing.
I know. I told you that's another topic. I got to figure out how to package that.
Yeah. Like,
Welcome to 2 More Than 98.
Where we talk about anything and anybody with different lenses.
With no judgment.
About who and what could be said.
Welcome to 2 More Than 98.
We do this every time. No,
When we talk about
anything and anybody
with no judgment
and different lenses
about what should or can be done and said.
That's right.
Still.
Damn.
A year and plus. All right. Come on. I'm your host, Ajax.
And hold on.
And he's your host. Really?
Why do you do that?
We have our guest today.
Aaron the Renegade. What's
Aaron
up,
the
y'all?
Renegade.
Hold on, guys.
He's trying to get his camera together, guys.
Yeah, so
Who are you?
my name is Rashawn Ali, aka Fly Rod is what they call me.
All
Who
right.
calls him Fly Rod? That's what I want to know.
His boys.
But I wasn't named by men, for the record. I was in the 9th grade, and this very popular woman. She's married now, so I don't know if I should say her name or not. However,
We don't name names.
I was walking, right? Because I grew up a little poor, but my 9th grade year, I'm like, listen, I'm hustling.
Things done changed.
Things changing. I'm like, listen,
Right.
my mama talking about she ain't got it.
You got it.
I got it. Came, you know what I mean? Came walking the halls, and the popular girl, all it took for her to say it. She was like, hey, Fly Rod. It was over. It stuck with everybody, and everybody started calling me Fly Rod from there. It was
That's
over.
what's up. That's what's
You know what I
up.
mean? So that's organic. I liked it. It is what it is. So everybody, Aaron in the building. We got Aaron in the building. We got Ajax in the building. You already know what it is. We bring that thing like, oh yeah, that's right. You can see him.
Excuse what's happening here. We were like on 2 phones.
Oh yeah,
So-
we working this thing out. Definitely, but
Making content.
100%. I got a question. First of all, thank you, Aaron, for blessing us to come into our podcast, 2 More Than 98. Obviously, it's a podcast, so it's a little bit more raw. The number one rule, I think we need to start saying this to every guest that comes. Number one rule is there's no rules.
There is no rules.
We want you to speak your mind,
Be your authentic self.
be your authentic self. You know, this is a free zone for women, right?
And
women can express themselves without
Tyranny.
tyrannical power.
Okay.
Trying to control your thoughts. We don't want you to say anything that we don't want you to. I'm sorry. We don't want you to suppress anything at the end of the day. So
At the same time, 2 More Than 98. Well, actually, 2MT98 stands for 2 More Than 98, which means we're keeping it
100.
So,
I like.
yeah.
I think I want to ask this question. This is a question that I guess is amongst black communities all the time. Can you be pro-black and date a white man or a woman?
No. I'm gonna go ahead and say no. Like, it doesn't make sense. You can't do all of this and then you go home and then you find yourself with your tail between your fucking legs. You still have to behave a certain way. You can't be 100% black when you go home. I get it. There's some white people
Who are in our lives?
who are in our lives. They are part of the movement. I get it. There's nothing wrong with that. But I guess that could be like a slight exception to the rule as far as still being pro-black and being with somebody that supports the movement. But at the end of the day,
But what movement?
For image-wise?
But what movement are they supporting? Are they supporting everything like 100% free? Look, this
I would
my
think
thing.
so. Go ahead.
I don't know a white organization that's running around, right? Because it's easy to blend in with black people and say, yeah, I'm with the movement, right? We watch that on the news. You see the same people that was publicly, when the cameras was on, they with the Black Lives Matter movement. But then those was the same people they caught on CNN that was doing a loot and it was being blamed on us. And those the same people that was also starting the riots in the streets.
Right.
So like, not all of them, but some of them, right?
For those that are genuinely
okay, so that's
genuinely
okay.
part of the movement. For those that genuinely understand what's happening, for those that genuinely appreciate and accept, right? The I would say the blackness, which encompasses everything, right? Then for those, not only do we salute you, but at the same time, it's kind of like you are not part of what we're talking about, right?
Okay.
Who's not a part
Who's
of it?
not? You know, you saying in other words.
The ones that are
So in other words, so is you can't have it both ways though, Jane.
No. What I'm
either you could be pro-black and date the exception, or which is still a white person, man or woman.
It's still a white person.
Or,
That's why I said it was a slight exception. But still, I don't want to hear that from you though. That,
so then no. So why are we talking about the exception?
No. What I'm
then?
saying is, no. You have to understand that with the different types of viewers that we have, right? We have to let them understand that we do understand that there's a difference between white and white, right?
Can we get to a point to where we can actually express ourselves without having to be politically correct for our viewers? Like, well, I don't think that's.
We're not being politically correct, but the thing is, we have to make sure that if somebody just jumps in, hasn't seen us from the beginning, we're not anywhere type racist or whatever.
But
right.
But I got you, and I think yes, businessly, that is, I agree with you.
Businessly, no, it has nothing. It has nothing.
So
to do.
can we get to?
It has nothing to do with business
get
because I said what I said. Period. You like me for me, or you don't like me. Period. But what I'm telling you is that there's usually a difference. We have the whites that are with us no matter what. And we have the ones that play the part, just like you just give an example of. They play the part and they go home and they're like, listen, that was outside. Right? And then you have the ones that really want nothing to do with us. But I'm talking about for the ones that really roll with us. That do arm to arm walking down the fucking bridge. Right? Those types.
So, alright, before I rebut.
You gonna make me forget my point?
I'm sorry, bro.
But with that being said, even then, you cannot tell me that whole pro-black shit if you have somebody on the opposite side.
At home.
What about I have a question. So before I answer, I have a question.
Go ahead.
So on the opposite side, is that strictly white or does that mean not black? Because I think there's a difference. Okay.
There's definitely, notice I said white.
Okay. I just wanted to clarify that.
Because a person of color is a person of color. It's a difference.
No matter how they want to look at themselves.
I was about to say, no matter what, I know that people like to run around and say, because no one wants to, in these day and age, don't want to say, yeah, I'm black, my race is black. But even black people be like, that who you know is black, former slave of America, or
the Dominicans,
and right, they
I know black. They
be like,
I've actually seen that.
Right?
I couldn't believe it.
I know black.
Even like I go down south sometimes and I talk to my cousin. They be like, man, grandma was part Indian. Like, bro, relax, bro. Like, you want to be everything
else,
but being
you
black.
want to
like,
disassociate yourself.
Like my the slave name that I was born with is Irish, O'Neill, right? So I got a couple of my family members. They like to say, we part Irish, bro. Relax. Like, stop the shenanigans here, right?
We pick and choose when we want to be part of the
culture, and we. So, in other words, my point is, I don't care if you Dominican and you hate yourself. And I'm saying all Dominicans. We just talking about in general, and say I'm not black. I don't care if you, whatever the case may be, whatever you are, other nationalities. Right, that don't like to say that their race is black, because a lot of times people go straight to their nationality. That's not the point. I'm asking.
Gotcha.
Can you be pro-black?
I got you. So, I've had this conversation. So I have a chat group and I talk to my friends in Houston every day, right?
Okay.
And even my line sisters, we have another chat group. And in that chat group, one of my closest friends, who is also she's Nigerian, so she ain't black. She black. She's Nigerian.
She black.
No, like you know what I mean, black. She hasn't been over here diluted like a lot of us other African Americans, or Americans who are of African descent.
Does she wear wigs or she natural?
No, natural, and she has super long hair.
So she black. Go ahead.
No, yeah, she black.
She 100.
But she has a white husband.
Oh man.
And I actually remember her like feeling torn when it came to like marrying him or dating him or whatever, because I guess the judgment that comes with marrying somebody white and you being black. I think when you're pro-black, and same thing with my line sister, she also struggled with it. Like we had discussions about it. So I get where they may come from, and I understand like love is blind, blah blah blah. I don't believe that, but I understand how people use that in negotiating how they enter and maneuver within relationships. So I get that. However, and my friend and I have gone back and forth. We even got in like heated arguments where she like pissed off with me. I don't believe you can truly be pro-black when you are with a white person. And the reason I believe,
is it just white or any other race?
I think it's not static, right? So I think it's linear. Okay. Meaning, you know, if you're, I don't know, Asian, Mexican, all these other like, you know, races of people, it goes up the ladder. And white is like the highest. So like Super Mario Brothers, right?
It's 180 degrees opposite of black.
There you go. So and perhaps I have a different definition of what pro-black is. I believe that pro-black has a lot to do with like what a lot of people call nation building. And nation building is about knowledge and education. It's about finances, resources, money, all of that. And it's about the black family. And the black family, however you slice it, is like the core of everything.
Right.
You don't have people without the family. Like the family's comprised any way you look at it. So even though in America when someone's half black, they're still looked at and considered black. I get that, but I still think that you're like, oh, but I'm also still white. And I get somebody trying to identify and be like, oh, I'm black, and but I'm also white. So there's like cognitive dissonance when it comes to that.
Okay.
But going back to my original statement, I think how are you like building wealth and building a nation when you're with a white person? Like think about it. Let's say I'm a millionaire, right? Let's say I got $15 million. I have a white husband. I have half white children, right? Who are probably still going to be considered black.
Of course.
If I die, my assets are going to go to my children and to my husband.
Right.
So I am not building anything within the black community by my assets going to a white partner.
I see what you're saying. I see what you're saying, but at the end of the day, your kids are still part black. So in some ways, it's going to some part.
I'm talking about all
and
of them.
And if they marry black,
but they might not. There's a higher chance that they won't marry.
If you got black people who didn't grow up in an interracial marriage, want to be other than black. Now you're saying that someone who actually have a white parent, not you love your parents. You have a whole nother side.
You're gonna
identify, and to a point that she was trying to make was that yes, they can go out and go marry. Listen, I don't like those chances though.
It's 50% though because
it was only be 50% if you talking about somebody is it's. Again, if you have people who didn't grow up in an interracial marriage looking for always the lighter, right? Now this person who grew up half white can actually have that, still grow up in the same media, still grow up in the same education, the whole 9 yards. Now they have like, I'm half white. I can date.
So you can actually go that way and it's acceptable. It's
going to be more acceptable. Because black people, one thing for certain, when you see like some of the black women that have their mother is white or father black or vice versa, right? They interracial and they go out and marry like the women and the actress go like what's her Paula Patton, Paula Patton, right? She's half black,
right?
But her dating what's his name, Robin Thicke. No outcry from black men, no outcry from the black community, nothing at all. Because guess what we gonna say? Well, she is half white. So at the end of the day, but it's harder.
At the same time, Robin Thicke too. He's not. He doesn't put himself white. He puts himself out there making black music. So we're giving him 75% of a chance.
Wait. Let me go back to this point.
What do you say?
I think that you have to be conscious, and like I don't believe love is blind. I believe
that's the second time you said that. Why is that?
Because we choose who to be with. As men, you choose who to interact with. You choose who to come up to.
So hold up, you said choose, right? Mm-hmm. So if we choose, right, that means at some point it's blind, because if you choose to be in love with this person, whether they're white, brown, or whatever, right, at some point it becomes blind, isn't it?
Can I just say something and you can edit it?
You're not part of the show right now.
I'm not, but you can edit it.
Go ahead, sis.
The reason people say love is blind is not because literally it's blind. It's because you're in a state of illusion.
Yes, because of love. But at the same time, if you're in a state of illusion, it doesn't matter what this person is. You're in that state of illusion, so therefore the love is blind.
When you're illusion or disillusion, you're not in your right state of mind. So you're not making the most logical, conscious
decision.
That's bullshit, because you know why? You didn't choose, but you were with somebody to the point where you fell in love, right? So it's kind of like, whether you made a decision or not, this is what happened.
Decision or not, all I'm saying is, like, there are people who are together for 2 years, and you might say 2, because we'll say the state of disillusion.
Why don't you pull up a chair?
I'm not, but I'm just saying the state of being in an illusion state may last 2 to 3 years, and like, we're all adults here thinking about 2 to 3 years. You're like, what? Dude, that's a long time. Mm-hmm. So for you to be in that state for that long period of time, because if I tell you right now you gotta do a 3-year bid, you're gonna be like, what?
Or being in love with the wrong person.
For 3 years.
Like.
So I mean, all I'm saying is when people say like love is blind, essentially it's that you're essentially disillusioned into really who you're with.
And guys, again, I think this is a case of two things could be right at the same time, right? You know, which I agree. Yeah. But I think that going back to what we're saying. Go ahead, because this is gonna be edited.
Yeah, it will be edited.
This is edited. This is gonna be edited.
Go ahead.
The only thing that's not edited is the live. What's up, guys? You see?
Oh yeah, I forgot about the lies.
Yeah. No,
I'll go back to this. I just think that, like...
But that is true. I agree.
I just don't think that love is blind. Like, love is like a conscious thing. Like, you choose to be with somebody. You choose to spend time with somebody. You choose to spend money on somebody. You choose to invest in somebody. You choose... Normally when you're dating, you got 5 people. Mm-hmm. You're choosing one of those 5.
Yeah.
Love is very active, you know.
No, I think that you can definitely choose who you love from the beginning before you fall. Because when you just see somebody, you're not, I love this person. That's not how that works.
Right? So you're choosing.
I agree. So I think that's where it starts off, as in when you choosing somebody who you choose to love. However, you know, it gets to a point that it becomes blind, because as she says, like an illusion. Who I think that it gets to the point that you're not really paying attention to all these other things. All these other, you stop caring. Really, yeah. It's not. I don't know if you stop caring or you just, as she said,
it doesn't matter as much.
It doesn't matter at that point in time. We have it's the same. We have a saying: when love is thick, faults are thin, and when love is thin, faults are thick.
Mm-hmm. I don't think that's true.
Really?
That is true. That's definitely true. When love is thick, faults are thin.
Because like that's not real love. I think that's when people say.
But we're not talking about we ain't say you got real love. You have unconditional love. Okay. You have conditional love.
Right.
I think it's levels.
No, I don't agree.
Okay, since we're talking about love and stuff like that, we kind of veered off, kind of like.
Yeah, should have been on this show.
But
see, this is exactly.
But I got this question. Since we're talking about love, so does it matter age over experience or experience over age? Like at this point,
in what regard?
What do you mean? Like,
I mean, since we're talking about love as being blind, right? So would you rather have somebody who's more experienced in the whole love relationship, or does the age really play a factor? Because the person could be 5-10 years younger than you and still could perform. I mean, not perform, but still be able to be adequate enough in what you would consider to be in the level of accepting or giving out love as you would?
I think it's experience, maybe.
So experience over age.
Let me clarify. So are we talking about like sex or just like experience, like when it comes to a relationship?
I mean, take it how you.
Okay, because I think that older people, because having had experienced so many probably failed relationships, you build up walls, you're more cautious, you don't put yourself out there, you're not as carefree with your love or with your feelings with people. And so I think that like it's probably harder to get to that point, or harder to like build something with somebody versus a younger person who doesn't have those life experiences, which kind of works to their benefit, you know, and they're able to like freely give and just like live in the moment and like take it for what it is and enjoy it.
So is that your wildlife time? Is that your kind of like second wildlife time in your life, to be with somebody who's not that experienced as far as the whole relationship, whatever, but he's young and he's able to.
I don't know.
Yeah, for me, give me the less experience.
Why is that?
Yeah, so you can mold them.
Not even that. I think that it's hard for, you know, an older woman said to me one time in the barbershop, I was cutting a grandson hair. She said, and I heard this from my mom as well, women love really hard one time in their life, maybe twice, depending on the guy. So, and as you watch and as I listen to older women now who been through the ringer, as they say, right, you start to see how or why they deal with them. Even if they could get married, they could get remarried. What was their real reason for them to get remarried? You start to hearing certain things. It's something about when, I think we had this conversation before, where they says, when a woman believes in you, that type of love, like when a woman believes in you as a man, you can't play with that. And I think that comes with, you know, you as a man, you know the difference when you was 18, 19 years old and you had a girlfriend and you can say anything and it was gold.
Right.
But then now you don't have her no more, or you messed that up. And then now, because whatever you young and you don't know the actual the power that she gave you, the control that she gave. Right. Is only temporarily, right? That she gave you because you messed that up, and you in this position of leadership, and you messed up and you broke her heart, whatever the case may be. Then now you in your 30s or 40s or whatever, and then you dating a woman, and she loves you, but it ain't that type of love like that you felt. You know it, right? You know it. So at the end of the day, it's like, damn, if I had that chance again, I know what to do this time in my life. Like, I know exactly what to do. I know where I made my mistake at. I know I can't play around. I'm a better leader at 33 than I was at 23. So it's or 18 or 19. So I will be able to, I can go a lot much further. You know what I'm saying? So at the end of the day, I take that all day long. For me.
What say you?
Me, I'm on the fence. I mean, depending on what age I'm catching somebody at.
That's true.
For me, it would be like,
and I don't mean the I'm sorry, just to clarify, because I know you know the internet. Oh, he want to date 18-year-olds. No, I want to date 18-year-olds. You just got
not what he said.
That's not what I'm saying. But at the same time, you'll find some people they'll find some solace in I'll say a 20-year-old, right? Mm-hmm. That has more logical sense than somebody who's older than them.
100%.
Right? And then that cannot be denied.
100%.
So you're kind of at the fence because...
That's an anomaly, wouldn't you say?
It is an anomaly. Mm. It is an anomaly.
Okay.
But, that's why I said, you're kind of on the fence because wherever you might be in your life, you might want to experience, because you know what? I don't want to mold anybody. I just want to have somebody that understands where I'm coming from. We could just coast and blah, blah, blah. Then you might have the person that says, I need somebody who's younger to match my energy, because people my age, just don't match, and you know what I mean, or they're already tired and whatever. So it all depends on where you are in your life and how you feel. I would.
So, but you and your wife loves you. No, anyone that sees it knows the way how that look. You still have that going on in your marriage,
right?
Your wife loves you. It's like
Henny and all.
Right?
We all got our little,
and which is a beautiful thing because how long y'all been married?
16 years.
How long you knew her?
We've known each other 20 years.
20 years. It's magical for 20 years to go by. I mean, we didn't say your marriage is perfect.
No, it's not.
But that she loves you, believes in you,
right?
And then now, if something magically just some bad genie then came in, now you don't have that, right? And then now you meeting another woman. What is the likely chance
of meeting another Marie?
Another woman, not a Marie, but a woman to
treat him like
look at you the way how she looks, still to this day, still look at you. That is, which is why I think subconsciously a lot of times men do. You be like, he's 40 years old marrying a 28-year-old because he's like, he's still trying to get that.
Okay, so to answer your question, right? We don't know if you'll ever get that again, but if you actually get somebody, whether they're 20 years younger or about this 10, 15, it doesn't matter. So we're gonna go with the age factor. They're younger than you, right? What you represent to that person at that time in their life, right? You could actually probably get that again because now this person is looking at you like, oh, he's not just a nigga out there just trying to bag me and you know, bag it and leave. Like, he's showing me the ropes. He's showing me how to grow. He's teaching me myself. So you're showing this person how to be alive. So you see what I'm saying? So with that being said, they look at you in a different light, and maybe you might get that again.
I was about to say it is
small percentage.
It's Now you just gotta hope this person ain't been ran through the ringer.
And now the reason why it might be a small percentage is because you also have to make sure that but when you find this person, it's somebody that fits in all the corners that you want to have filled in and what you might be missing. And the only thing that's missing is probably some guidance or whatever. And it might work. It might be a perfect marriage where you still have enough time or enough patience to show this person what's missing. And for this person to be able to want to grow and be willing to not only learn but to also accept how you are and how they can be.
Fair.
Can I ask you a question? And this is perfect because you here, right? I think a lot of times, from my observing you on the show, which is period, even out off the show, just talking to you, you have like, and I don't know, it's because you a lawyer, right? I'm
a lawyer.
It's that type of thinking because you have to think less. Not that you don't have emotions, but you have to.
Everything is based in logic.
Everything is based in logic,
right?
How do we get? How do we?
As long as it logically makes sense.
How do we get people? And you can't like, all right, and obviously one person's not gonna get everybody to be like this, but as a unit, of people, how do we help people to? That's the better word. How can we help people to think, or I shouldn't say think, make less emotional decisions and more logical decisions?
In what?
In just life, their everyday life. And 9 times out of 10, a lot of times, majority of that is based off of like people make, according to psychologists, because obviously I'm reading this, more people make more emotional decisions regarding relationships and I forgot, it was like 2 other things, right? But how because you emotionally more involved in something, right? Anything that they say anything that you emotionally attach with, you normally make more emotional decisions, according to Dr. What's his name, Jordan Peterson. He says, he's a clinical psychologist. A lot of people, not everybody, but a lot of people normally make emotional decisions, irrational decisions.
They're irrational because they're emotional?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, that's a tough one. I mean, as far as being irrational and emotional at the same time, is okay.
Well, the irrational decision is going to be based off the emotion.
Go ahead.
And I'll be honest, I don't necessarily think that being a lawyer made me this way. I think being a lawyer made it worse or exacerbated it.
Oh, okay. So you was like this even before you went to law school.
That's why she went to where she went to.
I'd say partially. Like, that was definitely one of the things. Like, I was like, you know what? I can write. I can think logically. You know, maybe I should go to law school. It was definitely something like that. But I'll tell you this. So my dad and my stepmom got divorced. I was in law school. Matter of fact, she left. You know, she's like, I ain't coming back. You know, my dad was like, okay, cool. Like, let me know, like, what's next. You know. And if that response tells you anything, it lets you know that my dad is not an emotional person. He does not react out of emotion. And
maybe he was over it. Like, go ahead.
He still wants to be married. But this is the thing. Yeah. I'm telling you.
No,
I remember
that's a man's man. My grandfather got a similar story.
I remember my dad being like, Aaron, you see all of this that's happening? You see how she's doing X, Y, and Z? He's like, let me tell you something. Don't ever have your emotions not under control, because that is how you make poor decisions. And honestly, like, because I was seeing what was going on behind the scenes, I was like, oh shit, let me not do this. And that was one thing, that was kind of like the turning point when I was like, always just learn how to have your emotions in check. And we talked about this on the show. Like, have your emotions in check and don't let it control you. And because I saw, like, she was doing things that were essentially to her detriment because she was acting out of emotion. And he even pointed to my aunt, who was the same way. Like, everything was like emotion driven for her. Like, she never just sat down and thought something through and determined that something was a good choice or a good idea based on logic. It was more like, well, I'm gonna get this person back, or this person, I'm gonna show them, or this person ain't gonna do me, or it was always something like that. And I remember him pointing that out, and I was like, yo, I don't want that to be me. But even growing up, if we were having like you know, kind of like tough conversations between, you know, parent and child, whatever. Like, I remember myself like crying. You know, you get that little like hurt in your throat, you be trying to hold it in, and your little tear fall. Like, I remember that my daddy's be like, Aaron. It wasn't like, yo, get your emotions in check, but it was like, why are you crying? What is there to cry about? You need to get that under control. Because it's not going to help you as you grow and mature. And like, that was just kind of always like, probably from middle school on, like always a conversation that my dad had with me. And honestly, like, I can only assume that maybe my mom had the same experience with him. Maybe my mom's emotional and my dad's just not. I actually don't know.
You got any siblings?
Yeah, I have an older brother and a younger brother.
Okay, so he did you what he did to them. Go ahead.
Well, like, so my older brother is with it was my dad's stepson, right? But he's been around my whole life.
So that's your brother.
And so I kind of remember like the way he treated him. Not that it wasn't loving, but it was more so like training. Like
a guy. Like, he's treating like a guy.
But that's how my dad raised me.
That's why.
It was more like
I
training.
just said.
Yeah.
You know, the funny part is, as I'm listening to you, it's making.
I just want to like pinpoint real quick. I know you're gonna totally
speak up.
This out.
If you're gonna talk, speak up.
It's just that like it just doesn't work that way, Ra. In terms about emotional decisions and in terms of trauma. I'm not saying like every person experiences trauma. It's just that in terms of correlation between experiencing trauma in early childhood and the frontal lobe, which really controls our logic, and how that just goes offline when we get into emotional states and our decisions and our kind of like animal brain takes over. I mean, I want to go all like extra.
So, in other words, like a lot of times, what if a person can heal from their trauma? Right? If that person could start the process of healing from the trauma.
You can, like...
I'm going to give a perfect example. Like, a trauma for me, right, is, I grew up, I watched my mom being abused, right? Growing up, right? So that's a trauma. And then...
From birth?
Not from birth, from since I was like 3 years old, right? So, and not from my father, but like from the men that she had, dated. So I watched that, right? Growing up, I think that's the 3 to like 13 or 14 years old, right?
Then you start abusing women.
So don't start the shenanigans. Hell no, I never abused women.
Cut that out.
Listen, no. He can say that. I'm not an abuser. No shape, form, or fashion.
I'm kidding.
However, listen. However, I did believe at one point in my time of my life, like if you, and I shouldn't say that I don't even now, like if you trying to stab me or something like that, I'm going to defend myself. I don't care gender, I don't care if you're an 8-year-old kid.
I think that's just survival.
Right? Me too.
Survival instinct.
No, it's the truth. But, or just you thinking that ain't nobody just going to be putting their hands on me. That's just not going to happen. Gender or age is not going to matter. For me.
But that's not a trauma reaction.
No, I'm saying, I got you. I was about to say, being in a relationship though, I see when you gotta emote, when I see like somebody's trying to get underneath my skin purposely, and those emotions come out, and then it's like that's what I seen doing, but controlling yourself, right? Trying to be like, why did I want to do X, Y, and Z? Was it just because this person was purposely trying to get underneath my skin, or what like really analyzing and questioning myself? Right. I think that when a person is trying to heal or get past that stage, right, or get to a certain checkpoint, because I think healing is a forever lifetime journey, but I think we can meet checkpoints, right? I think when you get to a certain checkpoint, before I didn't like, all right, this is what you wanted to do. To now, I'm not even going to allow you to even get me to that point. I'm not even going to allow you.
You won't like me when I'm angry.
Before I see when I see that it's getting to a certain role, I'm already trying to diffuse the situation in some sort of fashion, right? At the end of the day, so that's logically thinking. No, that's not thinking, because my emotions saying something different. My emotions saying I'm not backing down. It's ego, right? Pride, right? And I think that hubris, right? How you would think of oneself, right? What is like how you thinking of your own self? I'm not letting that to get control over the whole situation, because then now that I'm thinking emotionally at that point, I'm saying, how do we get to a point? Because I think it's maturity. I think when you're a child, you move to make decisions. A lot of your decisions off, mommy, I feel like everything is off the way how you feel. But I want. It's just I, right? In the beginning, until you raise your maturity or you mature to another level to where just because I feel some type of way about something don't mean that I'm right.
I think it takes a lot to get to that point, unless you have somebody kind of guiding you,
training you
on that path, or you're a child who's in therapy, or like I don't see how somebody can just, unless they're just a really like a person that everything just kind of don't faze them. Like I wish I was those kind of.
That's still another process to get there though, because in order for you to have something not faze you as much, you also had to do a lot of work with yourself, coming from a situation where any little thing will set you off. I think it could be cultural, and I'm saying that only because I'm married to a Jamaican. Jamaicans, they just be kind of like, whatever. They'll like, cut somebody off, but then just walk away and be like, it's whatever. Right.
I think it's just different people come into that mindset in different ways.
And I also think it also plays a part where you come from and, you know, your environment. First of all,
Absolutely.
God bless the person that falls under Rod's hand after pissing them off.
Slap the shenanigans.
But you'll have, like, just like you said, your husband's Jamaican. You know, most Caribbeaners, they're real calm and cool and collective.
Oh, they are?
Yeah,
I didn't know that.
For the most part, yeah. Like, listen, everything.
I thought Caribbean people would be like buckshots.
Not if you push them to that point, but in the meanwhile,
Wait, hold on, say that again.
huh?
You say what?
Caribbean people.
Caribbean people.
Man, stop the shenanigans.
Hold on, wait, no, stop. Look.
You should have been in. You should have been in here.
So
You want to
listen.
say something? So
Wait, hold on. I'm not saying that we don't have a hostile
Bruh.
behavior, but you have to get us to that point,
Are you
though,
saying
because
when we on? Are you talking about Caribbean women that grew up in America?
I'm not talking about women. I'm talking about in general people.
Ah.
Like we're mostly on the chill side. Okay, we do have shit to be mad about, but we choose.
Bruh, I grew.
Come on,
listen.
I let you talk, didn't I?
Yeah, you got it. Go ahead. 'Cause
Don't-
I'm trying to think. At first, I was thinking of the woman aspect of me dealing with Caribbean women, but then I'm saying the Caribbean men. First of all, the Haitians and Elizabeth are not chill. The Haitians, let's be clear. The Haitians in Irvington are not chill. I don't know. Listen.
Well, it depends how you
See,
approach
here
them.
we go. Now it depends on
how you approach them.
Stop
Because
the
listen,
shenanigans,
I know half of these
Hey,
cats.
yo.
But listen, I know half of these cats. But what I'm
Yo,
telling you
Stop
is
the
this.
shenanigans.
What I'm telling you is this, right? For the most part, just to go off what she said real quick, that her husband's Jamaican, blah blah blah. He's cool, calm, and collective. And I've met Darren, right? And he is chill. But I'm sure if I did something piss Darren the fuck off, Darren ain't gonna be that Jamaican. He's gonna be the other Jamaican. Just like I'm Haitian, right?
There's another side.
There's another side.
yeah.
And the thing is, we've gone through so much, we've learned how to heal, right?
Or learn.
Like through generations or whatever.
Through generations, through education and stuff like that. Remember, you also have different society of people.
Right.
So different societies of people behave differently. You learn how to deal with things different. You learn how to express yourself differently.
Very true.
Bro,
Okay?
Conflict resolution.
So exactly. So when it comes down to that, for the most part, the tranquility transcends over, I'll say, majority of what we'll call Caribbeaners.
Oh.
But if you get us to that point of like, listen, we're gonna put you in the corner, whatever. Nobody puts baby in the corner. So the machetes are coming out, you know, the pops are coming out, the bumper clots are coming out, the get momos is coming out. Okay.
Bro, the Haitians in Irvington.
We talking about the Haitians. Listen,
Brooklyn.
Don't make me put a head on
you. They are not chill.
Don't make me
All
put a
right.
head on you.
When the last time?
We're
you know
going
what?
on a tangent.
Yeah. All right, I got you.
I'm fucking around. That's my man.
Listen, let me say this. I got another question. Matter of fact, before I go to this question, do you have anything a question that you really like? You probably like want to really ask that you can really express yourself or not? Before I ask a question.
No, not really. You ain't.
So just go ahead.
Yeah.
All right.
The list.
Let me ask you a question. Well, I ain't want to talk about everything but however, I just wrote down some things. Why do our culture, right, confuse
Black people?
Black culture?
Yeah, like American.
I should say people in general.
Okay.
Because I don't even. This is not.
Not a black thing.
This one right here is not a black topic. Just a black. Though we can keep it with us if we wanted to.
You know, not everybody has a
Right.
culture, right? So just
No,
make
when I
sure-
say culture, I'm just talking about in Western
culture.
society.
Oh.
In Western society, right? In Western society.
Okay.
Why do they confuse? Because it's mostly in really Western. Why do they confuse men wanting to be competent or want achievements to being to having a desire to be a dictator?
What do you?
Or what, like someone that goes on a, you know, they like our perception, I think we spoke about this before, like of a man wanting to be competent and people assume power to be something a tyrannical or dictating, like you just want power for corruption, to control, well, for corruption. Like a lot of times when you see a man trying to attain power, we automatically assume that this person is trying to obtain power for something, for corruption,
Like something nefarious.
For something negative, like
For something
for
negative.
ego, for ego.
more so. Yeah, it could be. I'm not gonna use ego because it could be ego, and this person could really have a good heart. Doesn't mean that they're gonna, just because it's ego.
But it's still
doesn't mean-
perceived that way.
Yeah, but I'm just saying, why do it? I'm trying to formulate it. I know I was supposed to have formulated before we came on here, but why do we confuse a man who wants achievements and competence for having a desire for tyrannical power?
Is it a confusion as to what is or what isn't, or is it seen as like they could see the progression from somebody trying to attain that point, and then the ego takes over? Now it's kind of like, I need more, I want more, because at this point, once you get to a certain level, there's really nothing stopping you.
But wanting more doesn't mean that you are. I just think that the fear, if we give this person more, that it's going to be tyranny. But like, for instance, obviously things work, right? Look, cars, right?
Uh-huh.
People wanted more cars. The person who Mr. Ford, was he wanted achievements or something. He was competent. He had power. A person that was producing cars. He wanted more cars. Didn't mean that he wanted to rule. Mr. Ford didn't want to rule in tyranny, right?
But how do you think? How do you think his ego was? Wait, hold on. How do you think his ego was once he created the GT? Then he had like he had the fastest car on the planet at the time. How do you think his ego was?
But
It created the assembly line.
He created an assembly line, and then he went on to do the Mustang, which was kind of like a baby version of the GT. But either way, he's holding that front line. He's holding the whole door with that whole idea of I got the fastest car right now.
It feeds your ego.
It feeds your ego.
I got you. What I'm saying is, I'm not saying ego isn't a part of. Rather, a man want achievement and competence, right? Mm-hmm. And rather, a man just desired to be in power for tyranny. I'm not saying that ego, like this, either man doesn't have ego. I'm just saying, why do we confuse the two? Like, is it fair that if we give this man too much power, he's going to try to become a dictator?
I think I have it.
Oh, go ahead.
I think, have you ever heard this like quote? It says power corrupts.
Uh-huh.
So I think a lot of people do not necessarily seek to be corrupt, but when you get power, you want to continue in power. You want to continue consolidating power, and so you may have to do things that cross that line that make you corrupt, or you have to like think more corruptly, or you actually have to get your hands dirty and be corrupt.
Not only that, you're contacted by the lesser corrupt to make you get involved in more corruption. So therefore, it's not that you're corrupt yourself. It's the corruption that comes with the power.
But now look what we did. We just placed that from what I think from our experience in the Western world, when we seen men who actually have done that, and now we paintbrushing everybody to do the same thing if they get power. Look at our brother Mansa Musa. Listen. Look at Mansa Musa. Mansa Musa didn't do that. He don't have stories of him enslaving people.
We don't know that.
We don't know that.
All I'm saying is, so let's go by what we do know. According to, he was the richest man on the planet at one point, right? He built on colleges and universities. He gave out millions and millions of gold.
Victor writes history.
Right? So cool, but
The victor writes history.
So the victor writes history, but the victors of the Western world that we know that they all or most of them have ruled in tyranny. We know that it doesn't. Someone that's being bad, you're not going to be able to escape that.
No, that's not true.
Well,
It's not true.
So put like this: from the history, I'm not assuming, because we don't have that Mansa Musa, a black man who was the richest man on the planet, that he did anything wrong. I mean, not that he didn't do anything wrong. That he wasn't the like he didn't rule in tyranny. I don't have that history.
I'm gonna be honest. Like,
So let's stick with what we
would
do
you?
know. Well, let's stick. Well, we have the history that we were slaves.
Yeah.
But at the same time, he was also a billionaire at the stage at that point.
Huh?
So imagine, he was a billionaire. He was a billionaire at that time of life. He was a billionaire. So what do you think he might have said or made sure that what was written about him?
Well, same. You could say
they was often with people's heads back then too. So
hold on.
Anybody was against it.
So you're actually making my point. We have a whole bunch of history of men who was in power, who we know their dirty laundry and the things that they have done.
Right.
I'm saying, but now all of a sudden, this one man
we're not saying that he wasn't good or he was bad. We're just saying that
we don't.
For the most part, when somebody's really fucked up, they can't escape that whole faith of having something written about them, the truth.
So we
about
don't know.
Can I just say something real quick? I don't want to like interject because it's just like to make your point. Because you're not talking about history. You're talking about human nature. You're not talking about,
point.
Dude, you could have talked about somebody 1,000 years ago and you could have talked about 100 years ago.
It's the same.
There's one thing: absolute power corrupts, because ultimately we're human beings at the end of the day.
But I don't. But that's something I definitely don't. I definitely don't agree with that.
You may not.
I'm not gonna pass judgment on a man that's in power that we have no history of.
You may not agree, but I agree on numbers. So my thing is this: if you give me 10 leaders of the world, whether you're talking about 3,000 years ago or 3 days ago, and we're talking about absolute power, and out of 10 of them, 9 of them, in terms of absolute power and how it impacts them, I don't believe in that. Like, I don't believe in exceptions. Like, you believe in exceptions. Even Jesus.
No, that's not. Listen, no, that's not. No, I think no. What I'm saying. No, listen. Hold on, wait. I was about to say, hold on, because this is about to stare off in the. I wish you was definitely on here, and this. I'm glad that you mentioned that. I don't have a history prior to 6,000 years ago of black men ruling in tyranny. Bring up one book.
But we also don't have the same. Wait. We also don't have the same history of black men ruling. Period. But they were.
No.
So it's not like
have that history.
You know what I don't
No, hold on, wait. No, we hold on, wait.
Everybody know
hold
that?
on, wait. No. You said do everybody know it? No, I'm saying no is if anyone that's competent that will go out and do your research, right? We have a history prior to 6,000 years ago. When I'm asking this, show me a history that black people ruling. You had the hieroglyphics, it's people who study all day long. We don't have a history of black men raping black women.
But you
don't listen. But how? Wait. But we have a history of a whole bunch of other men in the last 6,000 years. That's a whole nother topic.
No, it ain't. You mentioned it. You might as well say racist.
Hold on, wait. I'm saying that is. I'm not. You can't. Your numbers is based upon of the men in a Western society. You don't have. Don't have pride.
She made the point. It's not Western society.
So give me the men.
World.
So hold on. So give me. I want to know. The only thing I want to know, because you could say anything. Go into history prior to 6,000 years ago of black men ruling in tyranny.
I don't know any history from 6,000 years ago unless I get on the internet.
Yeah, I mean, I like, that's my thing. I like to study our history.
And you know what the problem is?
Study history
You
from Africa?
You could study history as much as you want, but you know what's happening? This generation is not doing that. So if you're gonna bring something, you have to bring the whole factor, whether it's the goods and the bad. So at this point, we can't really prove this point. So we're gonna make the show about Mansa Musa?
No, listen, I'm about to say, you know what I'm gonna do? This is gonna be another topic for the next time we come in there.
It's gonna be an educational topic.
It's gonna be an educational topic. Because this is a conversation.
Just to clarify,
listen, 100%. Because this is something like I like this. I like that's my thing. I like to do that. Okay, right? That's my history is my thing.
Well, you definitely didn't bring your A game here because I don't understand what's happening.
I didn't even know what's going to lead to that. I just wanted to ask the question: why do we assume? Or why?
It's actually not an assumption. It's not an assumption. It's not a confusion. It's not a conflation. Literally, history shows us that people who have absolute power are corrupt. Absolutely. Like literally, history shows us that.
Yeah, well, I mean, I think
And it's not just Western
like
society. You can look in Africa. You can look in India.
You go to Africa, but you only talking about that's only happened after they've been either colonized or they met with the Western world. Prior to the Western world going into Africa.
No.
Because Africa wasn't even named Africa until a scholar, a white man, came there named African Lunalis. I think that's how you say his name.
Yeah.
Who came and he started conquering, and that's when black people actually start really meeting white people. Prior to then, when it was called Kush, when it was called Asia or the jungles of East Asia, when it was called had other names in Africa, I again. Show me.
Listen, I'll
in history.
I'm gonna say something. I'm gonna ask you a question.
I'm listening.
And we're gonna wrap this up.
Okay.
So.
With the question or the show? Like,
no, the question. So we know that people in all cultures and countries have slaves, right? No. India, China, Africa, Turkey, whatever their names are or were. We know that, right? And we know slavery is a bad thing, right? So you can't, it's hard to convince me that you as a ruler allowed slavery or committed the act of slavery and there was no corruption involved.
But you made my point. Anytime slaves was mentioned is after the influence of Western society.
No, it's not. No, it's not.
No, because
it's not.
Can you go back to hold on, wait. Can y'all name? So let's.
No, listen, I can get on my phone.
Listen. Let's go into right, because the only chattel slavery ever in history is in America.
No.
Yo, listen. Can you Google that? Just Google chattel slavery.
I'm gonna Google slavery.
No, chattel slavery. Chattel is only one type of chattel slavery.
You think they was calling it chattel back then?
No, I mean it's still the actions of slavery still would be. It's just like
in ancient Egypt, slaves were mainly obtained.
There wasn't no slaves in Egypt. They already disproved that. We know that's the Jewish story. That's in the Bible and the whole 9 yards. But there's no actual proof of that. That's right now. There's no
all societies have had slaves.
No, that's what we're taught. But
some of them were actually indentured slaves.
Indentured
servants.
I'm sorry.
Which is different from a slave.
It's different from a slave. But they still consider it of some form of slavery.
No.
But you know how people became slaves back then? I just read it. It was because they were prisoners of war.
Right. Or
so they
being stolen from their place.
That's true.
Of homeland.
I got you. That's what we're.
Which also again, some black people were also responsible for selling their own.
I'm not disagreeing with none of that. I said, mind you, because you're only going to give me within the last 1,000 years.
You're not going to Google when was the first term chattel used?
Good idea.
Okay.
Why are you not sitting down?
Yeah, you could have been on here.
I'm just.
Again. Chattel slavery is different. Right? Chattel slavery is different.
This says 1640s.
Exactly.
Slavery, 1640. Slavery existed 1,000 years before then. And then before then, 1,000 years before then.
No, it didn't. Slavery didn't exist 1,000 years ago.
Welcome to Do More Than 90 Years.
That's not true. Slavery didn't exist 1,000 years ago. That is just not true. Now we know that we had servants. It's a difference between.
There's indentured servitude.
No, it's a difference between.
We just mentioned that.
Yeah, we just mentioned. It's a difference between servants and had slaves. Again, we're going to get back to this.
Yes, you guys switch up.
Yeah.
Because that one is not real, Rob.
No, that's 100% real.
No, and I don't have my facts. And I don't have my facts.
Listen, I did listen.
We're not trying to do a history lesson. We're trying to ask a question. So,
is this the one? No, there's another one.
Oh,
is this the one I had that was cold
fault.
or not cold?
Cold.
What is that called?
Paul George.
Never had that one. Drink break.
Paul George.
Oh, that's the basketball.
That's that's what I was just thinking of.
Maybe he was in there after the champagne.
Oh no. Actually, I don't. Okay.
Oh, they was going.
How many people in there, Raw?
Now.
I'm gonna have to cut this part out because people want to attend to their phones. People need champagne breaks and shit.
We're not all just here. Y'all
got more- y'all got
on
questions?
the side, like readily
I
available.
pour my shit out in the open. I just need a goddamn sponsor.
Y'all got right. Well, y'all got any questions? People will. What you think about this saying? Put your woman first, and the God will put you first as a man. What you think about that saying?
Put your woman first and God will put you